Hello and welcome to the Business Growth Spotlight. I'm really excited because we are kicking off this new podcast, and I couldn't be more thrilled to be bringing you my very first interview guest to kick off this new podcast. His name is Rick Salmaron. And before I introduce you to him, I just want to say thank you for joining us for this new launch, and thank you for being part of our community. The Business Growth Spotlight is sponsored by HLH Growth Solutions, helping business leaders become more visible to build authority, dominate social media, and drive revenue growth. If you are tired of inconsistent leads and missed opportunities, Spotlight to Scale is for you. Head over to spotlight.toscale.com to grab your free blueprint download. So welcome, Rick. How are you? And thank you so much for being one of our founding guests here today.
It's an honor, Heidi. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I'm going to introduce you real quick and then we're going to dive in. So, Rick Salmeron is an independent financial advisor with clients throughout America. Based in Dallas, Texas, he's a certified financial planner and president of Salmaron Financial. He entered the business in 1990, then branched out to begin his own firm in 2001. His guidance and experience help clients grow their wealth so they can grow their life. So again, Rick, thank you for being here. And I'm curious, you say you entered the business in 1990. So I have two questions rolled into one. Why financial industry? And two, what made you branch out and take that leap and go out on your own?
I'll take the first question first. And I'll say that I actually started in the business when I was 8 years old, not 1990. And let me set the stage. In Oklahoma City, where I was born and raised, Saturday morning at the breakfast table, enjoying my breakfast, my mother approaches me. She places her hand on my left shoulder and she says, "Rick, today's going to be a very special day for you." I said, "Why, Mom?" She said, "Because today, honey, I'm going to take you to a place called a savings and loan, and we're going to open up a savings account for you." Didn't know what that meant. So, what does that mean, Mom? She replied, "See, dear, if you let them keep your money, they will pay you money for keeping your money."
Mm.
As a young 8-year-old, that still didn't quite resonate, but what was good for my mom was good enough for me. So I dropped my spoon in my Fruit Loops. We went to the car, we drove to the savings and loan, and I emptied my pockets full of change, just several weeks of allowance, $10 easily. And my mother matched that with another 10.
Ah,
My
nice.
first savings account was open with $20. Now, it wasn't until 90 days later, Heidi, I got my first statement in the mail, and that $20 grew to $20.15.
Wow. That's amazing.
I was amazed.
Yeah.
That was a light bulb moment. I tell you the story today, almost 55 years later, as if it was happening last week, because it was such a visceral, positive memory. And that's what lit up this light inside myself from that point. I noticed this pattern of behavior. I was always a saver. I was always I was always putting money aside and not spending it, that kind of pattern of behavior. So when it came to opening my business in 1990, what do? I was in corporate America at that time. I wanted to get out. I wanted to do something just for myself and not for some other place or some other people. It occurred to me, I noticed this pattern of behavior. I bought my first house at age 22. I maxed out on my company's 401k before thinking twice and
Mm.
figured out how to live off of what was left over. I bought my first stock at age 18. I don't say these things to brag. This is just what I did.
Right.
So then I thought, wow, this is something that I could create a business out of. These were not secrets to me, but I'll bet they're secrets to a lot of people. So how can I turn this into, yes, an entrepreneurship, and if not a mission? And that's when I decided to join a firm in 1990, which I was with them for about 11 years. And it was good to learn the ropes in the industry in that manner. I would still do it the same way today, maybe for not as long, but it's good to know how to operate the bicycle before you start to ride it on your own, right? The training wheels segment. But that's what initiated my desire to first get in the business. This is a
Mhm.
natural for me. And then in 2001, I said goodbye to the company that I was with And I embarked completely on my own and created Salmaron Financial to what it is today. And I'm helping a lot of great, successful people make smart decisions with their money, make sure that their money is in the right places, headed in their direction, not somebody else's. So that's the sum of my brief history of this.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And it sounds like your mom was a very smart woman. And
She
kudos
was.
to
She
her
is,
because
yes. Mhm.
she led you down this path of steering you in the right direction and
Yeah.
learning all about money at such an early age when you're learning. Your brain is so moldable, right? And you're
Yeah.
taking in so much information and you're like a sponge. And this is the greatest time to learn about money because they don't teach this in school.
No.
Unfortunately, our children are not learning this. So and thank you for sharing your story. And yes, brag. Yes, bragging people gets a negative connotation, but in my opinion, if you're not sharing it, then we're not learning, right?
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
getting the benefit of your expertise
I'm
and
with you.
journey
I'm
along the
with you.
way. So thank you for that. So I know a little, you shared a little bit behind the scenes about some of the things that you wanted to talk about today. And I'm curious that you shared that you get one question asked a lot to you. And I can imagine what that is because when we learn people in the financial space, especially if we're not a financial expert, and many regular, I say quote unquote, regular people are not, right? That's not our forte. What is the
Mhm.
biggest question that you get, and what do you tell people around
Yeah,
it?
big question is, Rick, where should I invest my money? Where should I put my money? That's a very common question, as if they assume many people have this image that, well, I've got a crystal ball on my desk or whatever, and I'll tell them where the money's going to be made in 2025 or something. And I don't. I don't have that crystal ball. But what I do reply, and this comes as a surprise, if I had one place to invest time and money in, it would be in my self-esteem,
Mm,
in your self-esteem, my self-estimate of myself. And I discovered this in 2017. It's not that I wasn't always a good believer in myself, but when I really understood the concrete power of living a life with a high self-esteem, man, that was a game changer. That affects all areas of my life, whether you realize it or not. My self-esteem, I'll speak for myself, my self-esteem is like a silent partner on my shoulder, whispering sweet nothings in my ear. And usually it is answering the question that arises in my mind. Does this arise in your mind too? Of, do I deserve this? Am I good enough for this? Am I worthy for this? When these opportunities arise for so long, my little voice would say no,
mm,
because I didn't feel like I deserved whatever it was. I didn't deserve pursuing a major league goal, that I wasn't worthy of being with other people who have elevated to heights that I aspired to, right?
mm,
I felt lesser than. So when I tell people, really, the best place that you can invest your time and money in is self-esteem, it's because it influences every single decision that you make in life, from what I eat, for the exercises that I do or don't do, whether I show up on a podcast or not. These are all driven by my self-estimate. And if I tell people, and I'm not a personal growth coach, I maybe sound like it. I'm just an avid student of it. When I discovered it, it's been just the game changer. And you watch your life results change when you focus on this. But what if there was such a thing as a self-esteem thermometer that
mm.
we could stick under our tongue, like we take our temperature? What if there was such a device that could measure what our self-esteem was? Wouldn't that be cool? And wouldn't you agree that someone who is living a life on a scale of 1 to 100, where the self-esteem reading was like an 87, is
Mm,
living a far better life than someone who's reading like a 32,
absolutely.
right? It does take work. It's not instantaneous. But when I value myself, when my self-estimate is one that is high and not low, I care about my future. And when I care about my future, I take actions in the direction to create a better future for myself. I avoid actions that deteriorate from a better future for myself. All this may sound and feel self-centered, but you know who benefits from all this? Everyone in my world.
Mhm.
benefits. My kids, my wife, my clients, my business, my neighborhood, my city, my world, my, fill in the blank. When I start to elevate to the next Rick version 2.0, everyone around me benefits from that. And that's why it's so important to me, and I would argue important to anyone to be focusing on that first versus anything at all.
That's such an incredible response. And your clients benefit too. And they're
Yeah.
benefiting in, the greatest way possible. You're helping them build their wealth and you're helping them
Yeah.
not only build it, but keep it.
Yeah.
And when it comes to money and keeping your money, a lot of it, if you tell me if you agree, and I'm thinking you do, but basically what you shared is people lose money when they don't have the confidence to be able to keep it and know how to keep it. That's why you hear lotto winners. Most of them will lose their money and go
Mhm.
broke because they don't have that confidence to know what to do and take the right steps. And they don't have someone like you in their corner. And I would venture to say that if I asked 10 other financial advisors that same question that you get asked all the time, they would not be answering it in that way.
I doubt it. Mhm.
Yeah. And I will tell you, for those of you listening to this, Rick walks the talk. We came on Zoom before we hit record, and I said, Rick, how are you? And he said, I'm I'm happy. I'm loyal. You just shared so many different words to describe how you are. And it wasn't the just normal, hey, I'm good. Thanks.
I love that question because it's an opportunity to remind myself of the magnificent qualities that I have
Yeah.
and that everyone has. This, those qualities are not unique just to me. We were all born with those exact same qualities. We were not born dishonest. We were born honest.
Hmm.
We were not born as disloyal people. We were born as loyal people. And when I recognize and I realize that I've got amazing qualities inside me that can help me reach better heights as a person, as a business owner, I've got everything that I need to get there. It's hard to understand that, and it's not easy maybe to go up to those very high levels that we all pursue, perhaps. But what it's helpful when I remember that on day one, I was born with the same qualities as fill in the blank. Think of anyone else, picture in your mind that has already accomplished so much that you aspire to and that you admire, whoever that is. I don't know. Elon Musk, Taylor Swift, whoever the person is, just remember that when they were born, they had the same qualities as you did when you were born. Now, we all pursue our own individual careers. I get that. I get that. But it's important to remember that we can unearth those amazing and great qualities to create a better business for ourselves, to create a higher level quality clientele, to start a podcast, to start a second podcast for incredible people like yourself who are doing that. So remember that you've got everything that you need. It's not going to be an easy journey. Of course not. Never going to be. Nothing great in life comes with ease. It comes with effort and it requires strength. But you know what? You were born strong and you can become
Absolutely.
stronger too over time and with repetition.
Yes, and consistency, just like you said, with repetition.
Yeah.
You've shared so much in this. This is an interesting twist on business growth because we're not just sitting here talking about strategy. You're actually sharing how we do one thing is how we do everything.
Yeah.
And you are the same person in your business as you are at home and vice
Yeah.
versa. And that's really amazing and incredible to see in the business world. So for those of you listening, like business growth, this is all about business growth spotlight. We are shining the light on how to grow your business and how to become successful in the arena that you're in. And it comes down to one, you need to be confident in yourself. You need to be confident in yourself more than others. Like if you just need to believe in yourself a little more, then you don't, right? And you need to be able to show up confidently. And that takes working on that self-esteem muscle. That takes consistently and doing the work. So I want to get into obviously some tactics and strategy for those people listening on building their financial wealth and growing business. But Rick, you brought up self-esteem. What if somebody's there in a business, whether they're just starting out or they're ready to hit their next level of growth. We're in 2025 now. We're in the new year. Maybe they're looking at last year and looking at, okay, what worked and what didn't work. And I
Mhm.
really need to make some changes
Mhm.
to create what I want to create, but I just don't know if I can do it. What were the things that you did personally? You mentioned self-development. What are some of the things that you can share with somebody to up level their, to raise that self-esteem, to build that confidence in
It,
themselves?
it all comes down to habits. The individual habits that I have done over the past 5, 10 years, those actions that I took, the actions that I didn't take, they all have now blossomed or not blossomed to the life results that I have today. And if I love my life results and I don't want them to change, I shouldn't change any of my habits. I shouldn't change any of my actions. If, on the other hand, I see a gap between where I am and where I would like to be, that's a trigger that I need to be changing some habits, changing some actions. They're all seeds. They're all really, I like to call them grains of sand. We can take a grain of sand and tons of grains of sand and make an incredibly looking, beautiful sandcastle, or we can create a very dull, boring mound of sand. It's completely up to us. So the results that I want to pursue in 2025 will require probably a different set of seeds to plant in 2025. Whatever those seeds are, that's unique to whatever goals that you aspire to. The goals that I aspire to will require unique seeds or unique grains of sand. Okay, but I have to realize and recognize that if I identify a gap between where I am now and where I want to be, that's a sign and that's a trigger that something needs to change. And I've got to figure out what that is. That goes for your money, that goes with your health, that goes with the relationships that you have in life. A lot of times those seeds that you plant, they're not fun seeds. But this is where the confidence comes in. We don't build confidence by doing easy things. I won't build and grow my confidence by taking a nap and eating a pepperoni pizza every single day, right?
Right.
I remember Jim Rohn, a long time ago, he gave the analogy of what does the doctor say? An apple a day does what? It it keeps the doctor away. So what about a Hershey bar? Does that? No, it doesn't. So every day, am I going to have the apple or am I going to choose the Hershey bar? Which one of those? It's like choosing your hard, right?
Mhm.
I like the Hershey bar, but I don't like the end result of a Hershey bar day in and day out. I don't like the apple necessarily, but I like the end result over days and days and days. So it all comes down to the habits that we take. Another image that I remember, a visceral image that I'll never forget is suppose that you have an invisible video camera that is following you from the moment that you wake up to the moment that you go to bed. And it records your every single moment, your every single second, and every single move. And at the end of the day, you're the only one that gets to watch the replay of this video. But when we press rewind and then play, will you be happy with what you see? Or will you be not so thrilled of what you see? Sure, there may be moments that you might feel proud. There also may be moments that gosh, I really wasted a lot of time there, or what was I doing there, or whatever the case is. So just imagine in your mind if you had that exercise, that ability to have a camera following you along every single second. And what would that video reveal? And where would you like to make that video be not just a normal film, but an Oscar-winning performance?
That is so good. I never thought of it that way. That's a really great perspective. And it's true because at the end of the day, we every morning's a choice, right? When we get out of bed every day, it's a choice. And you mentioned choosing your hard. And we just had this conversation recently with my daughter because she's been up and down in her grades. She's a sophomore in high school and then she'll get all stressed out and anxious and anxiety attack will set in. And we're like, you're choosing your hard.
Yeah.
Procrastination, you are creating your own hard by procrastinating and doing your work and then feeling like, oh my gosh, I've got 2 days days to complete everything. So I love that you mentioned that because it resonates in all areas of our life and in all areas of our business. We're the creators of where we are. So if we're not happy with where we are, take a
Yeah.
look at that video, right? Rewind that
Yeah.
video and look at your day and go, okay, what can be better tomorrow? What can I choose differently the
Hmm.
next time?
Hmm.
So when it comes to growing your business, you have a successful business, Rick, and what are you focused on in 2025 and this year? What are some of the goals, if you don't mind, if you're open to sharing for
Sure.
you and your business and where you want to go, and what are you focused on to create that growth?
I'm focusing on visibility
Mm,
because I have got confidence that what I do for a living is magnificent. There's only one of me, and the clients that I work with right now, they feel special because they've got me in their life. And I may feel like I'm the best in the business, but what good does that do if the world is not aware of me and what I do? So I'm focusing on visibility. This is one of the reasons why I come on a podcast.
mhm.
It also helps me develop my own self-esteem because I feel confident speaking this way. I never would have been this way 7 years ago or 8 years ago. That would have been unheard of. But in terms of my business and my business growth, it will be measured. I'm careful about who I accept as new clients, but I know that I have some available seats in the theater
Mhm.
that are welcome for someone to sit in them, but that has to be the right audience too. But
Mhm.
people are not going to know about my theater. They're not going to know about my business, my experience that I deliver to them if they don't know about me. I could be the best in the business, but what good does that do if no one knows about you, right? They'll go straight to your competition. So that's something I'd encourage anyone is if you really believe that what you do is amazing and magnificent and better than anybody else, then share that word, share that with others, promote that in many different ways so that people can know you because you want to be on the top of the stack. You don't want to be at the bottom of the stack. In fact, you want your own stack.
Yeah.
You want people to think of no one else but you. And the first way to do that is to be visible. I actually have later this year, very excited, I'll have an opportunity to speak on stage at the Sydney Opera House in
That's
Australia.
amazing.
That is amazing.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm very excited about that, but that's going to be terrific. I never would have thought that would have happened. I don't do it saying, oh, I'm going to get all this business from this. It's just whoa, that's just a huge, huge life accomplishment, once in a lifetime opportunity.
Absolutely. And that comes from you building your confidence muscle,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
showing up even maybe when you don't want to,
yeah.
you doing the uncomfortable thing and stepping out of
Mhm,
your comfort zone. You can't be the best kept secret and grow your business.
mhm,
You just can't.
mhm.
So making your offer is great, but if you're not being seen in order to do that and having that visibility to make your offer and let people know that you are the expert in your space, that you
Yeah.
are the best in your field and that you've gotten the results that you've gotten for your client, you need to get out there and share that with people. So thank you for sharing that. And one last question is for you, what does visibility mean as far as when you would think of like social media or podcasting or different things to be visible? Do you have a favorite one or one that's working best for you in the
No, just in my view, it's being diverse with the visibility. Yes, social media posts. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. I've done several podcasts now. I thought, here's another additional channel. I truly am doing this to contribute and to give back. I have no idea if something's going to come back for me. I'm just a big believer in giver's gain, that if I give, I will gain somehow, maybe not directly from the source, just from other areas. If I show up in the world in that manner, I cannot go wrong. So, the podcast is a channel, speaking on stages is a channel. Email, I mean, keep in touch with my existing clients. And I'm a very relationship oriented advisor. They are my core people. They're my fam.
Mm.
And I need to be writing love letters to them to keep the relationship very happy and harmonious because I want them to always come to me for anything. So it's a multi-channel,
Yeah.
multi-channel in the areas that I want to be hanging out with.
Hmm.
Right?
Yes, you get to make the decisions on where you want to be and have fun with it. And you are the light in the room, Rick. You are like I will share with you, whoever's listening, reach out to Rick. And that brings me to my question, Rick. How do we find you? How do we connect with you and reach out to you?
My website is salmaronfinancial.com, all one word. Type in my name, Rick Salmeron, in Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, connect with that way. I like to say that my posts, I have an anti-boring post policy that I prefer to have them to be mini light bulb moments where you can be considering and looking at your own money in an angle that you would have not thought before.
Mm, I love it. Keeps it interesting, keeps it fun.
Yes, keep it
So
interesting and fun.
definitely reach out to Rick. You won't regret it. You'll enjoy the conversation. Let him know that you heard him here on the Business Growth Spotlight. He is doing all the things to be visible. You get to do the same. And I couldn't agree with you, Rick, and anymore that if you want to really take your business to the next level this year, visibility is a definite space to be a definite focus that you should be including in your strategy for this year. So thank you, Rick, so much for being here. Make sure you go check him out at his website and on all the social media platforms. Connect with him, say hi to him, reach out to him in the DMs and message him. And you will also put all of his contact information in the show notes so you can reach out to him there as well. Thank you again, Rick, for being here. And it's been such a pleasure.
My pleasure, Heidi. It's great to
I'll
see you.
see you on the next episode of the Business Growth Spotlight.